The four states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, OU picks up some momentum following a big win against Oklahoma State on Saturday. We'll hear from the team. And General Services Administration is refusing to give President-elect Joe Biden access to transition resources as the Trump campaign continues legal challenges to the election. For something to talk about, we're asking whether or not you think Joe Biden should have access to those resources. And be sure to participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. First, a check on your forecast.
Here's how we look from up above with the rain and even some freezing rain staying up to our northwest. But on the ground, you can't see your hand in front of your face with that dense fog advisory that we have in effect all the way until 9. Look at visibility numbers, especially when you get into the central and eastern parts. We're talking less than a 0.2 of a mile in Miami, less than 3 miles in Carthage, Girard, down to about half a mile right there. And that's the Freeman Health System sky camera. Yep, that's how dense it is right now if you haven't been outside yet, right at the freezing mark as well. Now, that fog is resulting in a fair amount of mist. So even though the radar wasn't showing it coming down from up above, it's pretty much like driving through it right now. We've got everything from 28s in Neodesha and Independence to 34s in Monette and Cassville, so it is a cold one outside. Not much of a warm-up. We need to get used to temperatures that are going to sit in the 50s here this week with mostly cloudy skies. Also, too, as we push through the afternoon hours, we're going to get a little bit of that up to the northwest. Should remain as rain as will be above the freezing mark. And then as we push into Tuesday, that's when we begin to pick up additional rainfall that works in from the southwest through Tuesday morning all the way into the afternoon and nighttime, and what's going to be a relatively wet middle of the week, 7-day forecast. Temperatures not looking too bad there on Thanksgiving. Be nice to get the rain out of there, see if we can keep it at bay until Friday, and then we set up for additional scattered rainfall over the weekend.
A nice break on Thursday for Turkey Day for the families to get outside and do that traditional football game.
That's what we're hoping.
Yep, looking forward to that. That should be nice. All right, thanks, Michael. McDonald County Sheriff's Office investigates a shooting death after finding a body at an apartment complex in Knoll. Authorities say a little after 10 yesterday morning, Knoll's Marshal Office and Sheriff's deputies responded to a call of shots fired at the Knoll Heights apartments. A man's body was discovered with gunshot wounds in an apartment on the second floor. Witnesses identified a suspect who had fled the scene. That suspect is now in custody after an arrest in Benton County, Arkansas. No names are being released at this time. The Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says it was victims of an armed robbery Saturday evening. It happened around 6 p.m. Surveillance video shows a man entering the Pittsburgh pharmacy. No one was injured during the accident. Pittsburgh police and the Crawford County K-9 unit responded. Anyone with information about the robbery should call Pittsburgh police. While some people prefer a home-cooked Thanksgiving dinner, others enjoy going out to eat on the holiday and letting someone else do the dishes. But this year, thanks to COVID-19, Thanksgiving will look different for many families and restaurants. Finn's Restaurant in Joplin closes on Thanksgiving Day every year, but will be offering curbside pickup for the holiday meals and will only be open for dinner the following day. The owner says he's seen more customers looking for an online ordering option as many people take COVID precautions and scale back their traditional large meals. Finn's typically stays busy in the days leading up to Thanksgiving and after on Black Friday, providing a nice boost in business to kick off the holiday season.
The joy that it brings to people's hearts to be able to know that they still get a home-cooked meal and they get to do it in a safe way. That's what it's all about.
Clark added that the curbside option does benefit the restaurant and also customers, still providing them with a cooked meal but allowing employees time off on Thanksgiving to see family. A church in Joplin wanted to show their giving spirit ahead of Thanksgiving, passing out blessing blankets to families in need yesterday. Celebration Church says that need is great this year. Each basket comes with ingredients for Thanksgiving dinner classics like stuffing green bean casserole, rolls, and more. People reserved their baskets ahead of time and met with church members who prayed with their families before passing out the baskets along with turkey and pie.
We call it blessing baskets because we want people to be encouraged and strengthened with hope and know that we're a community that loves them. We don't judge them, but we care about them.
Volunteers distributed 100 baskets in total, their biggest haul yet. Annual Cat Tracks YMCA National Swim Team in Carthage turned into a whole lot more for one of the Y's volunteer swim coaches. KOAM's Caitlin Shive shares how swim team members came together to surprise their coach in a time of need.
Cherie Woody is a volunteer and swim coach at the YMCA in Carthage, but while enjoying a summer day, she dove into a pool unaware of how shallow it really was, and in an instant, her life changed.
It was just a wrong angle, and I should have known better, and it was a freak accident, and I broke my C4, C5 vertebrae, which means I broke my neck.
The injury left her unable to enjoy the sport she loves.
It's just hard to accept in general, and then to think that you're not going to be able to do what your passion, what drives you, what fuels your fire every single day.
Her injury requires multiple visits a week to the hospital for therapy, and it's not cheap. So her swimmers decided they were going to help out.
Similar to like a walkathon, except a swimathon. So however many laps they swam is how they raised money, and collectively as a group we were able to raise $10,000.
For $10,000 to Cherie.
A check for $10,000 was presented to Cherie at the annual Cat Tracks National Swim Meet.
It really just shows you not only the support that we have for our own and our neighbors, but it also shows you that the youth, how much they respect and understand the power that they have and what they can accomplish.
And really, more than just the community, it really stepped up to help Cherie out, and I think it helped, helps them feel like they're doing some good in the world too.
That's more than anybody. Like, they worked their tails off for that, and it just shows the love that we have for each other.
The money raised will go towards Cherie's medical expenses, a surprise that's still sinking in.
I just can't believe that anybody would come together as a unit and raise money like this. It's actually like unfathomable.
In Carthage, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
And Cherie is making progress since her accident back in June. She says she's determined to one day walk again. It's 5:07.
Cold and foggy outside. Dense fog advisory lasting until 9 a.m. Temperatures right now below the freezing mark as you push out to the west. Mostly cloudy by the time we get into the afternoon, only making it up into the low 50s. A little chance for some scattered rain up to the north later on today. We'll get widespread rain then beginning Tuesday morning through the afternoon and evening hours.
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, treating MISC.
I'm Laura Podesta with details on a new treatment that could help children suffering from a dangerous COVID-19 complication.
Plus, President-elect Joe Biden continues the transition process without assistance from the Trump administration. We'll have the latest and a rematch of rivals as the Kansas City Chiefs face off against the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll have highlights. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back.
Chiefs fresh off a bye week and in prime time last night on the road against the Las Vegas Raiders. Kansas City's only loss this season.
And the Kansas City Chiefs
team back in week 5. Raiders opening drive of the night. Josh Jacobs fights his way in from 2 yards out. Vegas goes up 7-0 early, but the Chiefs respond right away. Patrick Mahomes dumps it off to Tyreek Hill. He's in from 3 yards for the touchdown. We're knotted at 7. Last play of the quarter, Derek Carr finds Nelson Aguilar in the end zone. 17-yard score. Raiders back on top, 14-7. You'll find out why I'm staying ahead of myself here in a second. Second quarter, KC with an answer. Clyde Edwards-Hilaire ties the game on a 3-yard touchdown run. Late in the quarter then, Mahomes gets his pass picked off by Trayvon Mullins. That ends the drive. Chiefs down 3 at the break. It doesn't matter. All you needed to do is watch the fourth quarter, namely, say the last 4 minutes of the game as the Raiders went down, took the lead. However, that's what happens when you give Patrick Mahomes the ball and time on the clock, as he would drive the Chiefs the length of the field and win this thing 35-31. Now I understand. 3 local teams still in the hunt for a state championship title. Webb City, Lamar, Cassville, all making it to the semifinals in their respective classes. Let's take a look at who they're facing. We'll start in Class 5. Webb City Cardinals aiming for back-to-back championships. They will face the Platte County Pirates. Rematch of last year's Class 4 state championship game, as a matter of fact. Cardinals went on to win 48-0, their 15th title in program history. Webb City hosts the semifinal contest on Saturday, kickoff set for 1:30. Class 2, Lamar Tigers in the state semis for the 11th time in 12 years. Tigers averaging 42 points a game. They're 10-1 on the year, winning the last 8 straight, and on Saturday they host Jefferson. That one is set for 3 o'clock. In Class 3, last year's state runner-up, Cassville Wildcats, looking to make their 2nd consecutive trip to the title game. Cassville's on the road to face the Maryville Spoof Hounds. Kickoff Saturday at 1. Oklahoma Sooners hit their stride in the second half of the season. Saturday night, 18th ranked OU, topping Oklahoma State 41-13 in what we call Bedlam. OU opened up with a 21-0 lead on the way to a 6th straight Bedlam victory. After starting the season 1-2, Sooners have now won the last 5 games and now have their sights set on a Big 12 championship game, sitting at 6-2 on the year with 2 regular season games remaining.
We've been in this long enough that I know y'all get tired of me saying this, but if you just win, stuff takes care of itself. So we don't talk at all about who else is playing who or where we stand. We just know if we win, good things happen. And the more you win, especially this time of year, the bigger the games get and the bigger the opportunities get.
No matter where we're at, and we fought back, and we're in a good spot right now. We got 2 games ahead of us. We're just taking it day by day, game by game.
Still to come on the KOAM Morning News, the latest on efforts worldwide to curb a surge in coronavirus cases, and a check on our foggy 7-day forecast when the KOAM Morning News returns. 5:17 on this Monday morning. Seems like whenever we start the work week leading up to a holiday, we can officially begin the countdown. So just let's try to get rid of our inclement weather before Thanksgiving actually arrives, and we're going to start with dense fog. We've got the advisories lasting all the way until 9, even as you push into the west, may not be part of that advisory. It's still extremely thick out there, and what we're seeing as far as the Skywatch Storm Tracker, up above the fog, we are able to stay out of the fray of the rain, even a little freezing rain right there coming down in far northwestern portion of us. But like I said, we stay on the dry side. It might get a little clipped right here by that rain, but I don't think it'll flip over into anything of the wintry variety. Now, our fog tracker has visibility numbers down to about half a mile in Girard, 1/10 of a mile in Miami. And like I said, even if you push out here where the counties aren't indicated in gray, visibility similar in nature. We're looking at 2.1 miles in Oswego, 2.7 in Carthage. So give yourself plenty of time. Low beams, a lot of room between you and other drivers. Freeman Health System Sky Camera is not getting any better, and it's going to take a little bit for this to burn off because it's cold outside. 34 degrees with a wind chill right now of 30. Temperatures ranging anywhere from the high 20s in both Neodesha and Independence, where it's 28. And we've got Monette and Cassville at 34, Pittsburgh at 29, and let's go 32, right at the freezing mark in Carthage. Just be wary of the kiddos out there on the bus stop forecast. Remember, they're going to be more consumed with getting the school work done and headed out for vacation than they are fighting the fog. So let's do our responsible thing as adults and drivers. Look at the ridge of the Jester. Look how far that thing's fallen. Remember, a couple days ago, we had the temperatures in the 70s is way up here. Well, it gives you an indicator that pretty much we're going to have a cold front that's going to be sticking around, not only for us, but really throughout the Midwest here for the next couple of days, and going to bring us a little precipitation. Now, as far as our Monday future track goes, any rain that we do see, that's what I was talking about, getting clipped up there to the northwest. But then on Tuesday morning, then we kind of start in earnest, and it's going to come down pretty hard at times here, especially when we get into the afternoon and evening hours as it rolls through. Not looking at anything severe right now. Could see some high winds, but that's about the extent of it. And like I said, luckily, we don't have to worry about any of that mess that wants to roll through central Kansas with a little bit of snow and ice on it. We'll just keep ours as rain. As we head into Thanksgiving, like I said, let's get everything out of here. Hopefully we can sit back and get a dry 60-degree day on Thursday. Time now to turn our attention to the KOAM News Now Facebook page. There's something to talk about. Quiet weekend in Delaware for President-elect Joe Biden, but things are expected to heat up this week. His incoming White House Chief of Staff, Ron Klain, says the former VP getting ready to unveil his first cabinet selections. Jackie Heinrich has the latest on the transition.
President-elect Joe Biden will announce his first cabinet picks on Tuesday. Which departments those will be, still yet to be determined. Biden has pledged to build the most diverse government in history. Progressives have been vocal about wanting a seat at the table after lending their support.
Joe Biden was elected with an incredibly broad coalition of voters and a broad coalition of support. So, look, we have every intention, I can tell you definitively, Joe Biden is going to keep his promises.
Senator Bernie Sanders is making a push for labor secretary. We know Biden has already made a choice for Treasury, but that name has not been made public. Senator Elizabeth Warren reportedly wants that job. Though there is concern both could face an uphill battle getting Senate confirmation. For Secretary of State, sources tell Fox News former President Barack Obama has advocated for former National Security Advisor Susan Rice. Biden's close friend and fellow Delaware resident, Senator Chris Coons, is also under consideration. Biden's team says the lack of a smooth transition is preventing them from doing background checks on potential nominees. More Republicans are now joining their calls for the president to concede the race.
Well, it's past time to start a transition, to at least cooperate with the transition. I'd rather have a president that has more than one day to prepare.
We're beginning to look like we're a banana republic. It's time for them to stop the nonsense. It just gets more bizarre every single day, and frankly, I'm embarrassed that more people in the party aren't speaking up.
The Biden team also says they plan to scale back the inauguration, and they're talking to party leaders about what that will look like during a pandemic.
Our question to you on our Facebook and Insta poll: should Joe Biden have access to transition resources? You go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote. You grab your comments and your voting results. Health Watch is next.
Topping Health Watch this morning, while some cases of coronavirus tend to be mild for children, more than 1,000 have developed multi-system inflammatory syndrome, or MIS-C, in children. It's a rare complication, but it can be life-threatening. Laura Podesta has more on the first child in the country to receive an experimental treatment for MIS-C.
KJ Griffin is a 4-year-old with a big personality. His mom cannot believe she came so close to losing him.
It's not a good feeling not to watch your kid like that.
In August, KJ was getting sicker. He was sent home from one hospital, but when he spiked a 105 fever, his mom rushed him to MUSC Shawn Jenkins Children's Hospital in Charleston, South Carolina. KJ was suffering from multi-system inflammatory syndrome in children, or MIS-C, a rare but serious complication that can develop after COVID-19 infection.
His body was no longer pumping blood effectively to his vital organs, and they were starting to shut down.
KJ received high-dose steroids and aspirin and plasma, as well as other drugs to help prevent blood clots. Doctors determined he was also a candidate for an experimental treatment called Remestemcel-L, which uses donor bone marrow cells to regulate the immune system. Dr. Allison Eckert is the Division Director of Pediatric Infectious Diseases.
It acts as if that person is making those cells themselves. And so they circulate in the blood and release anti-inflammatory cytokines. The thought is that not only does it turn down inflammation, but it actually repairs some of the damage that's been done.
Within 24 hours, KJ's cardiac function returned to normal.
We gave his second infusion a couple days later because his markers of inflammation were still very high. But within another 24 hours, they had started to come down, and he was soon able to be discharged from the hospital.
KJ continues to recover.
He basically in perfect health. You would have never thought he was sick just a couple of months ago.
Even though his condition is rare, his mom says she wants other parents to be aware. Laura Podesta, CBS News.
Well, since the pandemic began, there have been 1,163 cases of MIS-C in the U.S. and 20 deaths. That's according to the American Academy of Pediatrics. Repeated visits to the hospital emergency room for alcohol can increase the risk of death. A new study in Canada finds that for people with 2 or more alcohol-related ER visits during a 12-month period, 1 in 20 would die within a year of their last visit. European researchers have developed a non-invasive leg cuff that measures strength and speed when babies kick. The device monitors nerve cells in the spine and could one day help spot early signs of motor disorders, including cerebral palsy. Vegetarians, vegans, and people who eat fish but not meat all have a higher risk of bone fractures compared to meat eaters. Researchers in the UK say low intake of calcium and a protein can lead to poor bone health. And that's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Dense fog advisory lasting all the way until 9. It's like pea soup out there. Be safe. Temperatures only in the 50s today with mostly cloudy skies. We'll be back right after this.
The latest on a shooting death investigation at a Knoll, Missouri apartment complex. Plus, police search for the suspect who robbed the community health center of Southeast Kansas by gunpoint, and why some local restaurants say they expect a Thanksgiving boom in business.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 5:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half-hour morning talker today is about the presidential transition controversy. We want to know whether or not you think Joe Biden received the transition resources typically given to incoming presidents, whether he should receive those. We also invite you to participate in this morning's Instapoll. All you have to do is visit KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Now, I know it'd be easy to turn your attention up to the top left-hand portion of your screen and say, oh, look at that little wintry mix up there with that rain rolling through central Kansas. But that's not the main player for us. Here's the big one, the dense fog advisory. And look at these visibility numbers. Slipping below 1/10 of a mile there down in Miami, half a mile in Girard, and just widespread fog. It's something else out there. Freeman Health System Sky Camera in Joplin. Slow down, watch out for the kids at the bus stop as well. And it's cold. I'm sitting at 32 at Freeman, 29 in Parsons, 30 in Nevada. So bundle them up. Mostly cloudy skies on top of that. And really, the warm-up, it's going to take a while because all we're going to see today are temperatures in the low 50s. Far cry from the 70s that we were talking about last week. Should be done with the fog about 9:30. A little clip to the northwest and north with some afternoon and evening light rain. Now look at Tuesday. Now we're going to get started Tuesday morning as it comes in from the southwest, continues to roll through, heavy at times, and then all the way into Tuesday night. Now hopefully after we get done with that, we get a little respite as we head toward the Thanksgiving holiday. And our temperatures actually warm up a little bit, looking at 60 for Thursday. And I'm constantly being reminded here, our camera operator Allie's birthday as well.
Well, happy birthday, Allie.
Don't tell me, she's right there.
Happy birthday, Allie. She's not responding.
What do you want me to say?
All right. Well, we've got fog for your birthday. That means everyone needs to slow down. All right. McDonald County Sheriff's Office is investigating a shooting death after finding a body at an apartment complex in Knoll. Authorities say a little after 10 yesterday morning, Knoll's Marshal Office and Sheriff's deputies responded to a call of shots fired at the Knoll Heights Apartments. A man's body was discovered with gunshot wounds in an apartment on the 2nd floor. Witnesses identified a suspect who had fled the scene. That suspect is now in custody after an arrest in Benton County, Arkansas. No names are being released at this time. Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says it was a victim of an armed robbery Saturday evening. It happened around 6 p.m. Surveillance video shows a man entering the Pittsburgh pharmacy. No one was injured during the incident. Pittsburgh police and the Crawford County K-9 unit responded. Anyone with information about the robbery should call the Pittsburgh police. Well, some sad news out of Missouri. Kansas City Fire Department says 2 employees have died now of COVID-19. Chief Donna Lake identified them as Captain Robert Roca and paramedic Scott Davidson. Roca was 60 years old and had served in the fire department for almost 3 decades. Davidson was a 45-year-old and had served 18 years. Lake says 73 members of the department are infected with COVID-19 right now. More than 100 others tested positive previously. Well, now that Joplin has passed a new mask mandate, there are some things residents and business owners should know. KOAM's Chris Warner spoke with Joplin's mayor and with a local attorney with more.
Joplin Mayor Ryan Stanley says he's hopeful the new mandate will ease the workload on local hospitals following a letter from healthcare providers to community leaders in the area.
but I know that it's not just the 50,000 residents of the city that are going to be affected by this. It's going to be the 250,000 that do business, that work, that shop here. And so I do think an ordinance in the city of Joplin will be significant.
When it comes to businesses enforcing the mandate, Mayor Stanley says the city is behind them.
Some businesses will want to enforce this very strictly. And if they do, we are there to support. We're there to back them up and make sure that they are empowered to enforce it strictly.
And local attorney Bill Fleischhaker says so is the law.
A mask requirement is just like a shirt or a shoes requirement. If the business owner wants to say, I'm not going to do business with you if you don't come in wearing a mask, a business owner has the right to do that.
Some people have said it's a violation of their civil rights under the Civil Rights Act regarding discrimination if a business refuses service to them. Fleischhaker says that's not what the act is for.
That act, that law that people are talking about, doesn't say anything specifically about masks. It says you shall not discriminate, and then it sets out the categories such as race, sex, etc., that you can't discriminate upon, but it doesn't say anything about masks.
In Joplin, Chris Warner, KOAM News.
Just as a reminder, the new mandate runs until 11:59 p.m. through February 28th, 2021. However, like the previous mandate, it does include the option for the council to extend it or cancel it at any time. Well, some people prefer a home-cooked Thanksgiving dinner. Others enjoy going out to eat on the holiday and letting someone else do the dishes. But this year, thanks to COVID-19, Thanksgiving will look different for many families and restaurants. Finn's Restaurant in Joplin closes on Thanksgiving Day every year, but will be offering curbside pickup for holiday meals and will only be open for dinner the following day. The owner says he's seen more customers looking for an online ordering option as many people take COVID precautions and scale back their traditional large meals. Finn's typically stays busy in the days leading up to Thanksgiving and after on Black Friday, providing a nice boost in business to kick off the holiday season.
We already have the reservation book. It's filling up the day before, and we're starting to already get reservations for the evening after Thanksgiving where we're going to be open. And then, of course, our brunches are typically pretty busy. So it'll be exciting to see what the holiday, the brunch after holiday looks like.
Clark added the curbside option does benefit the restaurant and also customers, still providing them with a cooked meal, but allowing employees time off on Thanksgiving to see family. Well, with Christmas fast approaching, giving and goodwill is on the minds of many. Saturday, a couple in Joplin decided to host a silent auction to help raise funds for Joplin's Shop with a Cop program. Officers will take children on a fun spending spree on December 4th. But there's a lot of kids they're hoping to shop for this year. Local businesses pitched in to help, providing items for the auction, all with one common goal, making Christmas merrier for 4 state families.
Well, it's just basically just reaching out to community businesses and some individuals to solicit for donations. So we've been very blessed to get a lot of different places here in town. Old Hickory Butcher, Fletcher Subaru, Discount Tire, G&S Graphics. Many different places have donated some really nice items to help us raise money for the kids.
Items in the auction range from $25 to $500 in value. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM Morning News, spreading Christmas cheer.
A new holiday tradition is coming to Joplin's Mercy Park, and it's designed around social distancing. Details are coming up.
Plus, the official Instagram account of Pope Francis likes a photo of a lingerie model. Oops. Now the Vatican's asking the social media giant to investigate how it happened. We'll have details, but first, it's 5:37.
What's the big deal with that? I can't believe what worldwide how this thing took off over the weekend. I got his back. Temperatures are cold right now. We're even seeing below the freezing point throughout southeast Kansas. Remember, dense fog advisory lasts till 9 a.m. Slow down, a lot of room between you and other drivers, and give yourself a little extra time getting out the door. Rain's going to kick in earnest tomorrow morning. Going to be a wet Tuesday. Let's get it out of here and then enjoy Wednesday and Thursday. Be back with World Watch, and I guess Tanya's going to update the Pope's Instagram next.
Topping World Watch, it's not just the U.S. that's suffering in this devastating COVID spike. Countries like Canada have been plunged into fresh lockdowns by a surge of infections. And Europe is once again a global epicenter of the pandemic. Elizabeth Palmer reports.
In Liverpool, the military helped out with a vast trial of new rapid coronavirus tests. If they work well, the idea is to test everyone in England every week, as politicians in the West grapple with guidelines for a COVID-safe Christmas and holiday season.
Europe is now well into its second wave of COVID-19. There are hot spots across the continent, and the WHO estimates that one European is dying from COVID-19 every 17 seconds. ICU beds, especially in France and Switzerland, are filling up. Their hopes, like the world's, are focused on the vaccine. Here's a shipment of China's arriving in Brazil, where it's being tested. The data so far show it is safe, but not as effective as the two American-European front-runners. A third top candidate, being developed at Oxford University, showed promising interim results this past week, including in the elderly. Meanwhile, world leaders gathered this week on the mother of all Zoom calls in a virtual G20 meeting. They pledged fair distribution of the COVID vaccine to poor countries, like Iran, where CBS traveled earlier this month to witness the deadly toll of an infection out of control. And India, where millions celebrated the main Hindu festival of Diwali, are paying the price, a surge in both infections and death. In spite of international goodwill, developing countries that have to rely on the WHO for their vaccines are facing a deadly 2021. Elizabeth Palmer, CBS News, London.
According to Johns Hopkins University, there have been more than 58 million COVID-19 cases worldwide and an estimated 1.3 million deaths. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo meets with a Taliban negotiating team on Saturday. Pompeo was expected to push for reduced violence in his meetings with both Taliban and government negotiating teams during a day-long stop in Doha, Qatar. Previously, however, the Taliban has ignored such requests. Violence in Afghanistan has reportedly been increasing in recent months, with the attacks often being claimed by the Islamic State group affiliate. Instagram is investigating how the account of Pope Francis liked a photo of a lingerie-clad model. The Vatican says it learned of the incident on November 13th when the Catholic news agency asked about it. It happened on the Vatican's verified account called Franciscus. The account unliked the photo the next day. Oh, that was mean. The photo shows Brazilian Natalia Garibaldo in a schoolgirl-like undergarment. Oh, man. Her response to the incident is, quote, "At least I'm going to heaven." No evidence suggests the Pope himself liked the image. Maybe accidentally swiped left instead of right. I don't know. That's a look at some of your biggest headlines from around the world. Let's toss it over to Michael for our something to talk about.
I do like the fact that the person whose picture was involved did get a kick out of it. And, you know, at least she's got a little humor to her there. All right, this morning, KOAM News Now Insta Poll and our Facebook page. I want to go straight to our poll results. Our question being, should Joe Biden have access to transition resources from the White House? We've been going back and forth, neck and neck. Right now, 54% of you say no, he should not have access to those resources. 46% saying yes. Like I say, it's been back and forth, and we're going to continue to update it, and we'll get to some of your comments. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. We'll be back right after this.
Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Another vaccine developer reports promising results in late-stage trials. AstraZeneca announced early this morning that its COVID-19 vaccine is around 90% effective in preventing the disease. An analysis of trials in the UK and Brazil reported no hospitalizations or severe cases in those who received the vaccine. AstraZeneca says it will now apply for emergency approval. Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department says 2 employees have died of COVID-19. Chief Donna Lake identified them as Captain Robert Roca and paramedic Scott Davidson. Roca was 60 years old and had served in the fire department for almost 3 decades. Davidson was a 45-year-old and had served 18 years. Lake says 73 members of the department are infected with COVID-19 right now. More than 100 others tested positive previously. McDonald County Sheriff's Office investigates a shooting death after finding a body at an apartment complex in Knoll. Authorities say a little after 10 yesterday morning, Knoll's Marshal Office and sheriff's deputies responded to a call of shots fired at the Knoll Heights apartments. The man's body was discovered with gunshot wounds in an apartment on the second floor. Witnesses identified a suspect who had fled the scene. That suspect is now in custody after an arrest in Benton County, Arkansas. Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says it was a victim of an armed robbery Saturday evening. It happened around 6 p.m. Surveillance video shows a man entering the Pittsburgh pharmacy. No one was injured during the incident. Pittsburgh police and the Crawford County K-9 unit responded. Anyone with information about the robbery should call Pittsburgh police. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Let's talk fog, because needs to be first and foremost on our minds, as that advisory runs until 9, with visibility numbers decreasing before we get to sunrise. And so what we're seeing right now, easily less than 2 miles in many a place. Make sure you give yourself a lot of extra time getting out the door. Now, after 9, we're not going to get much of a warm up today. Mostly cloudy skies and temperatures only in the low 50s. That's a far cry from where we were last week. But, let's get all the inclement weather out of the way before the holiday arrives. Overnight, managed to stay above the freezing mark compared to what we had this morning. Now, we are going to pick up some rain. It will begin on Tuesday in earnest, Tuesday morning, as it rolls in southwest to northeast. Really lasts all Tuesday long. Tuesday's going to be a wet one. But then after that, look at this. Hopefully we can go 60s on Thanksgiving with some partly sunny skies. Kind of hold off that rain for 2 more days, and then we'll revamp it as we head back into the weekend. We'll be right back after this.
COVID-19 is putting a damper on a lot of holiday gatherings, but folks in the 4-state area, well, they're creative. Joplin Parks and Recreation is starting what could become a new holiday tradition with social distancing in mind. KOAM's Mike Mahoney paid a visit to Mercy Park to learn more.
Crowded family gatherings aren't recommended this holiday season with COVID-19 numbers on the rise, but you can still take a walk in the park with the people you live with. Joplin Parks and Rec would like to turn that into a holiday tradition.
This year we thought 2020, social distancing is kind of the rule of thumb. So this year we are rolling out a new holiday tradition at Mercy Park. It is called the Holiday Tree Trail.
The Holiday Tree Trail is exactly what it sounds like. 21 different businesses and organizations will soon be setting up decorated Christmas trees on Mercy Park's Lakeside Trail that folks can check out while easily staying 6 feet apart from other groups.
We just thought this was a really good event this year, since we've had to cancel several of our events because of indoor facilities, and we're trying to avoid crowding and just large gatherings. And so this event, this Holiday Tree Trail, just provided a great opportunity this year to kick it off and start a new tradition.
One of the businesses excited to be a part of the new tradition is Joplin's 4-State Trucks. They're designing a tree, but they won't let the cat out of the bag just yet.
When they said that the Mercy Park was going to have something that helped us celebrate in a different way, the guys in our fab shop here at the Chrome Shop Mafia have been tricking something out. It's going to be really something to see.
The party in the park kicks off on Tuesday, November 24th at 6 p.m. when all the trees will be officially lit. In Joplin, Mike Mahoney, KOAM News.
Well, Joplin Parks and Rec has a lot of fun socially distanced holiday events planned for Mercy Park this holiday season. And there is a link to them in the story on our website at KOAMnewsnow.com. I'll have to check that out.
Speaking of the old internet, if your morning routine involves Facebook, you can always go to @MichaelHayslip, KOAM. Of course, this morning, the big talker is the dense fog and the dense fog advisory. So just keep you updated on that. And here in a little bit, we're going to have another post drop that will be our morning forecast. Same thing you're going to find on the Skywatch weather app. Remember, that's downloadable for free on all your mobile devices. Then you can flip on over to @KOAM News Now. Our question for you this morning is, should Joe Biden have access to transition resources? We'll begin with Chelsea Bentoncourt. Chelsea writes, no, because he isn't president-elect legally. Fight me. Ah, Chelsea, it's a Thanksgiving week. No, I don't have the energy. I think she's kidding around. I'm pretty sure. Kenny Kimmel says they probably should, but the baby throwing a hissy fit will continue to try and sabotage the new administration as much as possible. Dave Sorek says in due time, when the Electoral College makes things official. In 2000, it took over 5 weeks to sort things out. Patience, he will get control of the taxpayers' money soon enough. Good point by Dave. You gotta remember that. It didn't go until December 12th. Frida Ray Griggs says, yes, give him access to the resources. This is about citizens, not politics. It's a cluster. You can also take part in our morning Insta poll. You go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. There you go, updating on the fly for you. Right now, we've flipped the leaderboard. It's now 51% saying yes, 49% saying no. Like I said, it's going to be a close one all morning long. Let us know what you think. Go to KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. Let's come back, update Skywatch Storm Tracker right after this. Fog's not getting any better, temperatures not getting any warmer. Watch out if you're going on a sidewalk, something like that too. We could see some areas even develop some slick spots with that fog. We'll be back right after this.
The latest on a shooting death investigation at a Knoll, Missouri apartment complex. Plus, police search for the suspect who robbed the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas by gunpoint, and why some local restaurants say they expect a Thanksgiving boom in business.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6 a.m. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, a horror legend joins the cast of Stranger Things. We'll have details. And the General Services Administration is refusing to grant President-elect Joe Biden transition resources as the Trump campaign continues to challenge the results of the election. So for our Something to Talk About, we're asking whether or not you think Joe Biden should have access to those resources. You can also participate in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Dense fog advisory running for the next 3 hours. Not even worth showing you outside of Television City because you can't see anything, quite frankly. Our fog tracker is less than a mile in Girard. Neosho down to less than 5 miles. We have seen a little rebound in Miami. Our visibility is going to jockey back and forth. Everything up to the northwest, not really hitting the ground. It's coming down real light. We can put on the sweeping radar right there. Give you a better idea exactly where it is actually coming down. A little cloud cover beginning to intrude. But whenever you see it flip over like that, well, we know it's a cold one outside. Cold and foggy, 31 degrees from the Freeman Health System sky camera right now. Let's go 30 in Miami, 32 in Nevada, and 34 in Monette. So for the bus stop forecast, just make sure that we keep an eye out for the kids because of the patchy fog. Sunrise will be here at 7:06, mostly cloudy skies. Not much of a warm up today. We'll go low to mid 50s, about as good as we're going to see. And not going to be surprised if on the northern portion of the 4 states, we're going to get clipped by a little rain that rolls through from that system we were just talking about. But now we're going to get widespread Tuesday morning. Watch it all work in from the southwest. And once it begins Tuesday, we got a wet Tuesday on our hands, to say the least. Not looking at anything severe other than some heavy rain as we go from Tuesday night all the way into Wednesday morning. But after we push that out on Wednesday, well, looks like we can dry off for a little bit and even sit back and enjoy what's looking like a nice Thanksgiving with partly sunny skies and temps in the 60s. It's like, let's get it out of the way all right now, and then we can sit back a little bit and relax up for a nice holiday.
I mean, honestly, the temperatures all week are pretty mild.
Seasonable.
Yeah.
Yeah, they are.
Nothing we can't handle.
Just a far cry from, rolling mid-70s last week.
Yeah. I remember there's been a few Thanksgivings in the past where it's dipped up there pretty high.
Oh,
But,
yeah.
yeah.
No, I can remember some where actually sitting outside with everybody in shorts and a T-shirt.
Which is ridiculous. But yes, it has happened. Just don't wear the muscle tanks. Not for Thanksgiving.
Sun's out. That's right.
That is nothing to give thanks about. Okay. All right, thanks, Michael. McDonald County Sheriff's Office investigates a shooting death after finding a body at an apartment complex in Knoll. Authorities say that a little after 10 yesterday morning, Knoll's Marshal Office and Sheriff's deputies responded to a call of shots fired at the Knoll Heights Apartments. A man's body was discovered with gunshot wounds in an apartment on the 2nd floor. Witnesses identified a suspect who had fled the scene, and that suspect is now in custody after an arrest in Benton County, Arkansas. No names are being released at this time. The Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says it was victim of an armed robbery Saturday evening. It happened around 6 p.m. Surveillance video shows a man entering the Pittsburgh pharmacy. No one was injured during the incident. Pittsburgh police and the Crawford County K-9 unit responded. Anyone with information about the robbery should call Pittsburgh police. The shooting at a Nebraska Sonic leaves 2 employees dead, 2 other workers injured, and 1 man in custody. Jessica Edison was on the scene in Bellevue where the shooting happened and has the latest.
Here in Bellevue, Nebraska, the community and police are trying to piece together the events that led to a gunman opening fire at the Sonic on Saturday night, leaving 2 dead and 2 injured.
This is a long 22 hours for me, and I can't imagine how long that is for those families and those that are involved in this.
On Wednesday, Roberto C. Silva Jr. visited the Sonic located at 1307 Cornhusker Road, picking up a $57 order. Soon after, the restaurant was notified by a man saying the order had been paid for using his app, and police traced the incident back to Silva. Silva was apprehended. He was charged with identity theft and was quickly released on bond. On Saturday night, police responded to a call about a possible bomb in the parking lot of the Sonic. Minutes later, another call came in of a shooting. When police arrived on scene, 2 people were already dead as a result of a gunshot wound, and 2 others were critically injured. A 5th person had minor injuries. All were employees at the Sonic restaurant. Silva, who matched the description of the suspect, was found lying on the ground. At a news conference Sunday night, police released body cam video showing his arrest. He was taken back to the Sarpy County Jail for a second time this week, this time being charged with 2 counts of first-degree murder and arson.
Gotta love his mugshot. Police said there were customers outside the restaurant and do not believe any were injured. While some people prefer a home-cooked Thanksgiving dinner, others enjoy going out to eat on the holiday and letting someone else do the dishes. But this year, thanks to COVID-19, Thanksgiving will look different for many families and restaurants. Finn's Restaurant in Joplin closes on Thanksgiving Day every year, but will be offering curbside pickup for holiday meals and will only be open for dinner the following day. The owner says he's seen more customers looking for an online ordering option as many people take COVID precautions and scale back their traditional large meals. Finn's typically stays busy in the days leading up to Thanksgiving and after on Black Friday, providing a nice boost in business to kick off the holiday season. Joplin and Reddings Mill Fire Departments teamed up for their own fundraiser, passing out chili in exchange for donations for their Christmas Kids program. Fire personnel from both departments set up shop in Finn's parking lot in Joplin, a convenient spot for people to drive by for a warm serving on a cold day. The group came up with this idea as an alternative to their annual chili cook-off.
This community would not be successful without the support of the community. It takes donations from the community in toys, money, and just supporting our fundraisers for us to be able to help kids around Christmas time.
Now, if you missed the chili but still want to help out with the Christmas for Kids program, just give the fire department a call and arrange to drop off your donation. 6:07.
You know, one thing we haven't talked a whole lot about because of these freezing temperatures, watch out for slick spots. It's not going to be widespread. I think you'd be all right because you're going to go slow with the fog. Watch out for slick spots on sidewalks and things of that nature. Tell the kids, you know, slow down on the way to school there. I want everybody to be safe. Don't need anybody slipping just because we've got some fog that could freeze over with our cold temperatures. A little bit of scattered rain in the north for Monday. Temperatures only in the low 50s. Remember, we really pick up rain tomorrow morning. Takes us all the way into the nighttime hours. Tanya?
That's a look at this morning's top stories and weather in our first 7 minutes. Coming up on the KOAM Morning News, troubles with outdoor dining.
The restaurant industry is already facing several challenges, but now owners have to make a tough, heated decision. I'm Michael George with how restaurants hope to stay open this winter.
Plus, the latest on efforts to approve a coronavirus vaccine and how New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's COVID briefings are netting him an Emmy. You're watching the KOAM Morning News. More real news in the morning. We'll be right back. A former animal trainer tries to rescue one of his charges, and Freddy Krueger joins the cast in Stranger Things.
Chris Martinez, we call him C-Mart. He's got our Eye on Entertainment report.
Just when you thought Stranger Things couldn't get any scarier, Freddy Krueger is joining the cast. Robert Englund, who played the 80s horror icon, will have a recurring role as a murderer in a psychiatric hospital in the show's upcoming season. He's just one of 8 new characters joining the folks of Hawkins, Indiana, who are dealing with a supernatural undercurrent in their seemingly normal lives. Production of Stranger Things Season 4 is currently underway in Georgia.
All of these lines across my face tell you the story of who I am.
Brandi Carlile is ready to tell you the story of her life. The Grammy Award-winning singer-songwriter is writing about her family, tours, and collaborations with various stars including Tanya Tucker and Elton John. The memoir, Broken Horses, is set for release in April. The journey of a former animal trainer who worked at Marineland Amusement Park in Niagara Falls is featured in the documentary film The Walrus and the Whistleblower. Phil DeMars claimed the park abused its animals, so he plotted to steal Smushy, one of Marineland's walruses.
I was witness to things that people would never imagine.
The Walrus and the Whistleblower is available on demand tomorrow. Also available tomorrow, Sonic the Hedgehog Limited Collector's Edition. It includes the film on DVD and Blu-ray, 4 posters, and 8 bonus features, including bloopers and deleted scenes. That's your Eye on Entertainment. Chris Martinez, CBS News, Los Angeles.
That was a cute movie. Did you ever watch Sonic, Michael?
No.
No. I don't know if your kids made you. No. Mine did. Well, a popular actor and producer shines the spotlight on producing Thanksgiving generosity as he gives to his home community during the coronavirus crisis.
Tyler Perry, you're going to know him for his roles as the eccentric grandma Medea in comedy films and his namesake studios, provided boxes of Thanksgiving food giveaways in Atlanta last night along with gift cards.
That's awesome. Well, long lines of cars patiently waited for much needed food assistance from volunteers wearing personal protective equipment. The food line was so long it ran into the thousands. Some people reportedly waited as long as 16 hours for the giveaway.
New York Governor Andrew Cuomo's daily televised updates during the pandemic were widely praised at the time, and now they're award-winning.
The governor confirmed that his 111 broadcasts before, during, and after the New York State's lockdown have won him an Emmy. The International Academy of Television Arts and Sciences is honoring Cuomo with the Emmy Founders Award for his masterful use of the medium.
The Academy's CEO says the daily TV briefings had the effect of calming and informing more than 64 million participants across all media platforms.
Cuomo says he will accept the award on behalf of the people of New York, who he said did an amazing job reducing the infection rate.
First thing he did was he got it and he called his brother. And he said, "Ha ha, Chris, look what I got." KOAM News Now Facebook page this morning asking if you think former Vice President Biden should have access to transition resources. We'll pick up our comments with Neil Coleman, who says, "I'm really interested in what policies Biden has to make. Do people want to vote for him? Do you want higher taxes, jobs to move overseas, more unemployment?" Heather Rennell says, "No, don't give him access. It's not over yet." And Guy Hansen says, "How you like it, Joe? 4 years of Democrats doing everything legally and illegally possible to obstruct the Trump presidency at every turn, and now you can't keep your pants on. You probably forgot where you left them." Maybe we'll ask Tara Reid after Inauguration Day. All right, as far as our Insta poll goes this morning, right now we've got 51% saying yes and 49 no. This thing's going back and forth here. Every time I look, it's something different. Go to KOAMNewsNow.com/vote, and that's how you let us know what you think. We'll be right back with Health Watch right after this.
In Money Watch this morning, Wall Street fell on Friday. The Dow dropped 219 points. The Nasdaq lost 49. S&P 500 was down 24. And during this shortened holiday trading week, investors will be watching to see if state and local governments continue to add new restrictions as the number of coronavirus cases continues to climb. But late Friday, Pfizer applied for emergency authorization of its COVID-19 vaccine Health officials hope it could bring the pandemic under control by the spring. Well, as many as 9 million Americans did not collect their stimulus check from April. The deadline to claim up to $1,200 was on Saturday, but the IRS says Americans can still collect the money during next year's tax season. Many people who did not get the original payment include college students and low-income families. With no end in sight to COVID restrictions, the restaurant industry is on the brink. Outdoor dining has helped, but as temperatures drop, fewer and fewer customers are expected to eat outside. Michael George shows us how restaurants are trying to survive the winter.
Super stressful, super stressful.
Benny Ramos has managed to keep his Manhattan restaurant Añejo afloat, thanks in part to outdoor dining. But when the weather turned colder, he knew this covered patio wouldn't be enough.
It gets very windy, and still having to keep two sides of the structure open definitely makes it a challenge, and doesn't make it cheap.
After more than 8 months of lockdowns and restrictions, 1 in 6 restaurants in the U.S. has shut down permanently, and staffing is down 2 million workers. Now, those still open for business are warming up to the idea of heat lamps as a way to sustain outdoor dining this winter. But with so many restaurants now forced to consider heat lamps, demand is soaring, and prices are too. Ramos says he's already spent $2,800 on the lamps and hundreds more on propane tank refills, as well as employee training and certification. David Arnold with heat lamp manufacturer Infratech says his company hasn't raised prices, but sales are up 400%, and they're trying to keep up with demand.
We've added new people, we've bought new equipment, and we even brought on a new facility.
For Ramos, the heat lamps may be the investment that keeps his employees working.
Seeing that these guys can provide for their families, that's what keeps you going.
A temporary lifeline that's badly needed. Michael George, CBS News, New York.
Well, many restaurant owners in colder communities say during the winter, even heat lamps may not be enough for customers to be willing to eat outdoors. Well, they were anything but in and out. It took up to 14 hours for customers at Colorado's first In-N-Out burger to get served on Friday. Long lines of up to 8 hours continued throughout the weekend as people waited to get a taste of the double. That's it for Money Watch. Here's Michael with a check on your forecast.
You don't pay me to stay in line that long.
Woo.
For just about anything. All right, we got to fight the dense fog here for the next 2.5 hours or so as our advisory doesn't expire until 9 o'clock. Visibility numbers, they are not budging right now. We're at 3 miles in Lamar, look at that, half a mile in Girard. Independence now sitting at a 0.0, a little light precip up here. Some of that not actually hitting the ground. Sweeping radar indicating that it's coming down very, very light, but we are seeing the cloud cover begin to increase as well. Freeman Health System sky camera, need everybody to be wary of sidewalks because with this fog and the precip and the humidity being so low to the ground right now, don't want anybody slipping and falling, especially those kiddos on their way to the bus stop. And it's going to be a chilly one today. Temperatures only in the low 50s. Little shot for rain up to the north today. We're really going to kick in tomorrow morning. It's going to be a wet Tuesday. It's going to run throughout the entire day. Luckily, let's get rid of everything so we can sit back and enjoy a nice Thursday. We'll be back with Health Watch right after this.
Topping Health Watch this morning, more than 256,000 Americans have died from the coronavirus. Health officials say life will not get back to normal until a vaccine is widely distributed around the country. They want Americans to stay home for the holidays, including this week, but as Bafta Imam reports, some have already started their Thanksgiving travel.
There's a lot more people here than I thought would be here.
Many Americans aren't letting the coronavirus stop them from traveling for Thanksgiving.
I'm 64 years old and I just want to enjoy what we can enjoy while we can.
More than 2 million people passed through TSA checkpoints on Friday and Saturday. AAA expects 50 million to travel in some form this week.
I just don't want to risk it at all.
Peyton Udo won't be one of them.
Video chat my family as well because I wish I could be with them clearly, and they really want me to come home, but I had to turn them down.
Dr. Anthony Fauci says Americans should stay put.
You see the clips on TV, people's at airports. I mean, those are the things we've got to realize are going to get us into even more trouble than we're in right now.
A record 83,000 Americans are currently hospitalized with COVID-19, and cases are on the rise in most of the country.
And we know travel just
It's like embers spreading it. It's like somebody carrying those embers in a plane.
Dr. Monsef Slawi is chief advisor to Operation Warp Speed, the federal government's coronavirus vaccine development program.
Most people need to be immunized before we can go back to a normal life.
He hopes at least 20 million Americans will be vaccinated by the end of the year if the FDA approves an emergency authorization next month.
On the 11th or on the 12th of December, hopefully, the first people will be immunized across the United States.
Experts say healthcare workers and the elderly should be the first to get the vaccine. Mofta Imam, CBS News, Washington.
Pfizer applied for an emergency use authorization last week that the FDA could approve in about 2 weeks. Moderna is expected to apply sometime this week. One other vaccine developers reporting promising results in late-stage trials. AstraZeneca announced early this morning that its COVID-19 vaccine is around 90% effective in preventing the disease. An analysis of trials in the UK and Brazil reported no hospitalizations or severe cases in those who received the vaccine. AstraZeneca says it will now apply for emergency approval. The co-founder of the ALS Ice Bucket Challenge has died of the disease he raised millions to fight. ALS Association says Pat Quinn died at the age of 37 on Sunday. He was diagnosed in 2013 with what's also known as Lou Gehrig's disease. The association says Quinn's Ice Bucket Challenge raised about $115 million to support its work. It also brought in about $220 million for research in other countries. That's a look at some of today's top health stories. You're watching the KOAM Morning News.
Mostly cloudy for our Monday. We've got the fog early, a little clip on the north to northwest section for some afternoon rain, and then Tuesday, well, gonna get the rain. Watch this thing roll through from the southwest. Not looking at anything severe wind or hail wise, mainly just hard rain throughout the day. We'll be back right after this.
The latest on a shooting death investigation at a Knoll, Missouri apartment complex. Plus, police search for the suspect who robbed the community health center of southeast Kansas by gunpoint, and why some local restaurants say they expect a Thanksgiving boom in business.
The 4 states' most watched news starts now.
Good morning and welcome to the KOAM Morning News. It's 6:30. I'm Tanya Bach. Coming up this half hour, why the certification of Michigan's vote could end up in the courts. Something to talk about on the KOAM News Now Facebook page. We're asking whether or not you think Joe Biden should receive transition resources from the Trump administration. You can also vote in our Insta poll at KOAMnewsnow.com/vote. But first, a check on your forecast.
Fog is the #1 threat on our Monday morning because it is dense as all get out. And we've got an advisory running until 9, and visibility numbers, while they're jockeying back and forth, let's just put it this way, I need everybody to slow down. And here's why, because some of that fog could actually freeze over, as we've got some temperatures lingering right at and below the magical 32-degree mark. Only 30 right now in Miami, 29 in Fort Scott, 31 in Carthage. So be very, very careful on the bridges and overpasses, especially on 49 and 44. Give you an idea, as the Freeman Health System Sky Camera has campus shrouded in fog and sits at 31 degrees. Up to the northwest, some of that's not even hitting the ground. And what we can do here is go to the sweeping radar and give you an idea. That's pretty light right there. You almost have to get, you gotta get a little bit darker color than that for it to have any substantial impact. But still need to everybody be wary as we count down to the Thanksgiving holiday. Kids are getting ready to get out of school. You know, if they got school next couple of days, let's make sure everybody is safe and sound. Temperatures only up into the 50s later on today. A little northwest clip of some afternoon rain. Now Tuesday is going to be a wet one. Everything works in from the southwest right there. And as it barrels through, we're going to get some pretty good wind out of it. Not looking at anything too elevated on the severe thunderstorm risk map. I'm going to get some thunder and lightning as well. Luckily, that wintry stuff that you see on the other side of Wichita, it can stay out there. Now, after we get done with fog today and rain tomorrow, hey, sit back. Kind of enjoy a nice middle of the week there, especially on Thursday, where looks like one of the warmest days on the old 7-day. Partly sunny skies, dry, 60 degrees.
Can't beat that. I mean, that's a pretty good Thanksgiving there. 60 degrees and no rain on that day.
You know, I was thinking about this morning with those temperatures.
What's that?
You could be thawing your turkey outside right now.
Oh. I don't.
Yeah, you could.
I purchased my turkey on Friday to start thawing.
No, it's just, that's
gonna be ready to
just
go.
give you an idea how cold it is right now.
We're going to attempt to smoke a turkey this year.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to it. Something new, something new. And I bought a backup just in case.
Yeah.
Got to be safe. All right, thanks, Michael. McDonald County Sheriff's Office investigates a shooting death after finding a body at an apartment complex in Knoll. Authorities say a little after 10 yesterday morning, Knoll's Marshal Office and Sheriff's deputies responded to a call of shots fired at the Knoll Heights apartments. A man's body was discovered with gunshot wounds in an apartment on the second floor. Witnesses identified a suspect who had fled the scene. That suspect is now in custody after an arrest in Benton County, Arkansas. No names are being released at this time. The Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says it was victim of an armed robbery Saturday evening. It happened around 6 p.m. Surveillance video shows a man entering the Pittsburgh pharmacy. No one was injured during the incident. Pittsburgh police and the Crawford County K-9 unit responded. Anyone with information about the robbery should call Pittsburgh police. Well, the pandemic is changing the way many Americans will celebrate Thanksgiving this year, and that's also having an impact on the service industry. While some people prefer a traditional Thanksgiving dinner at home, others enjoy going out to eat on the holiday and letting someone else do the dishes. KOAM's Caitlin Shive shares one Joplin restaurant owner's expectations for next week.
Thanksgiving this year will look different for many families, like Mark Hoskins.
We're going to be just a small number compared to what we've usually had, and I'm going to have it made and bring it in, and we probably won't be going out.
The days prior to Thanksgiving and after are typically busy times for people to go out, enjoy a meal at a restaurant, and get some shopping done. But with the pandemic, that is changing.
Always in the past, it's been sort of a family tradition to have Thanksgiving around and go out to a movie on Thanksgiving night, and we won't be doing that.
As Thanksgiving gatherings downsize, orders for Thanksgiving meals from local restaurants like Finn's in Joplin are on the rise.
I always do curbside takeout for holiday meals and turkeys and hams and the whole 9 yards, which we're going to do again this year. I have noticed an increase in that, so I think that there's a lot more people planning on doing smaller get-togethers at home.
Owner Michael Clark says they normally are busy in the days leading up to Thanksgiving and afterwards as Black Friday shoppers stop by to refuel.
We already have the reservation book is filling up the day before, and we're starting to already get reservations for the evening after Thanksgiving where we're going to be open. And then of course our brunches are typically pretty busy. So it'll be exciting to see what the holiday the brunch after holiday looks like.
He says their curbside pickup option is beneficial to not only the customer enjoying a prepared meal, but also the restaurant, allowing employees to enjoy the holiday as well.
The joy that it brings to people's hearts, to be able to know that they still get a home-cooked meal and they get to do it in a safe way, that's what it's all about.
In Joplin, Caitlin Shive, KOAM News.
Well, Finn's dining room will be closed on Thanksgiving Day, but the restaurant will still be offering that curbside pickup option. And Clark also noted they will only open for their dinner service on Black Friday. Calypso's Scuba in Joplin offered a twist on the traditional turkey shootout Saturday. Divers from across the area got together for a chance to win some scuba gear and turkey by throwing an underwater torpedo into the hole of a turkey cutout. That's fun. There you go. It costs $15 to enter the contest or one bag of pet food, all of which will be divided up and sent to the Golden Paw Pet Rescue, Joplin Animal Resource Shelter, and the Carthage Humane Society.
The animals that are in the shelter are all waiting to have a loving home, and none of them are going to have any handouts under the table at Thanksgiving. And there'll be no scraps handed to them, so this will give them a little extra dog food.
Divers as young as 12 attempted the challenge. That's a look at our top news stories coming up this half hour in the KOAM and Morning News. Police arrest a teen suspect in connection to a shooting at a Wisconsin mall. Plus, should Joe Biden have access to transition resources from the White House? We're going to let you weigh in our Something to Talk About. But first, it's 6:37.
Foggy morning. It's going to last for about the next 2.5 hours. Temperatures only in the low 50s today. Mostly cloudy skies. A little scattered rain to the north later on this afternoon. Widespread rain on Tuesday. Nation Watch is next.
Topping Nation Watch this morning, Wisconsin police make an arrest in connection with the mall shooting in Wauwatosa. The suspected gunman, a 15-year-old boy. Chris DeMeo has the story.
Wauwatosa, Wisconsin police arresting a teen in connection with Friday's shooting at Mayfair Mall.
Wauwatosa Police Department is pleased to announce the arrest of a 15-year-old Hispanic male.
Authorities on Sunday updating the public, but still offering only a few details about the shooting. Police Chief Barry Weber saying the incident was not random, but an altercation between two groups, which left 8 people injured, including 4 innocent bystanders.
All of the injuries were non-life-threatening. Most of the victims have been released and are recovering at home.
In the chaos after shots were fired, the teen suspect, who's a Milwaukee resident, fled on foot as other shoppers ran out. He was arrested Saturday night following the execution of search warrants. Weber believes it was during a traffic stop.
The suspected firearm used in the incident was also recovered at the scene of the arrest.
It took only about 30 seconds for police to respond to calls of shots fired Friday. First responders secured the mall and rendered aid to those hurt. With the help of multiple tactical teams, it took about 6 hours to secure the shopping center. At the same time, police were interviewing witnesses to help identify the shooter. Several others involved in the incident have been taken into custody. The 15-year-old's identity has not yet been released to prevent the ongoing investigation from being compromised.
A motive for the shooting has not been determined. Well, Joe Biden is expected to name his first cabinet picks tomorrow. The president-elect's incoming chief of staff, Ron Klain, did not say which cabinet positions would be part of this initial announcement. Multiple sources familiar with the decision confirmed to CBS News that President-elect Biden is expected to tap Tony Blinken, a longtime diplomat, as his Secretary of State. A Republican member of Michigan's canvassing board appears poised to vote against certifying the vote on Monday. According to Republican U.S. Representative Paul Mitchell, Norman Schinkel plans to vote no in order to delay certification. He wants an investigation into President Trump's claims of fraud despite a lack of evidence. President-elect Joe Biden has won Michigan by a margin of 154,000 legal valid votes. State's Republican House Speaker says he's worried Schinkel's no vote could cause a constitutional crisis if the other GOP board member also votes no. That would result in a tie that could send certification to the courts. And that's a look at today's top national stories. Let's check back in with Michael for our Morning Talker.
Thank you, Tanya. This morning on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our morning Insta poll, as President Trump continues efforts to overturn the presidential election results, our specific question is, should Joe Biden have access to transition resources from the White House? We'll resume our comments with Rick Norton. Rick says no, not until certification is complete. Then by all means. Rick says, I'm not in a hurry to lose my freedom. Kimberly Wright says if it's been done in the past as such, then yes, he should have access. If Trump really cared about America and the people, he'd be doing things to help. But nope, he's acting like a crazy spoiled brat that doesn't like to lose. Jim Armstrong says yes, Biden team should have access. Trump has his legal rights to challenge. However, options have not proven nor changed anything. This is embarrassment of our democratic process. The people have spoken, like it or not. And Kathy Manning, she says no, should not have access. As far as our Insta poll results go right now, it's 50-50. It's been back and forth all morning long. We're split right down the middle here at 6:43. I'll update it again about 6:50. We're going to celebrate birthdays and anniversaries next.
We take this time to honor today's 4 state heroes. Sergeant Walter Eaton, who served in the United States Army from 1944 to 1946. He fought in the Philippines during World War II and received the Bronze Star. His hometown, Stella, Missouri. We are proud to salute Walter Eaton, our 4 state hero.
The birthday list begins with a laughing Liam Hounshaw. Liam, I want you to have a marvelous 3rd birthday, kiddo. The all-timer right there. He's in Carthage.
All right. Coit Whitley celebrating birthday number 6 this year. Pictured with his best friend in Chanute.
Teasley Higgins with a 7th birthday. Hanging around the big man and the Grinch right there. We get the holiday season started. Teasley, she's in Oswego.
All right, and Autumn Avery turning 11 years old this year. Happy birthday to Autumn in Girard.
On to the teenage years for Adarius Valley as he celebrates his 13th. Well, Girard Trojan Pride.
All right, and happy birthday from Mom, Dad, Morgan, and Madison, going out to Emma Dooling, who's now 14 years old. Great picture there of Emma in Columbus.
Hanging on to the teenage years is Kyler Van Way, now 19. Happy birthday to Kyler in Carthage.
All right, Madison Shaw turning 21 this year. Nice picture there, Madison, in Carterville.
And in Chanute, Kenton Allen. How cool is that picture right there?
Looks like a winning pick.
Well done, Kenton. That's awesome. Happy 23rd, like I said, in Chanute.
All right, Francis O'Neill turning 35 in Joplin. And a happy birthday from your husband and parents with love.
Drop down to Neosho where we find Brandy Akey celebrating a 38th birthday. Happy birthday, Brandy.
All right, Christina Dragu turning the big 4-0 this year. Happy birthday, Christina, in Seneca.
Over the weekend, Jennifer Rutledge celebrated a 42nd birthday. Jennifer, she partied on in Lamar.
All right, and a happy birthday from Mom and Dad in Joplin to Stephanie Allen, who's now 44 years old.
Now, I know she loves those kiddos to death, but I bet you somebody's counting down to the Thanksgiving break in Miami, because that's where we find Sheila Snell. She celebrates her 47th birthday, a third grade teacher. Sheila, thank you for everything that you've done adjusting and helping those kids through this year, and a happy birthday.
Definitely a Wonder Woman, definitely. All right, Deborah Leslie turning 53 years old this year. Happy birthday to Deborah.
Shelley Hildreth, a happy 59th birthday. Miss Shelley, she's in Carl Junction.
And the recently retired Randy Lepglow turning the big 6-0 this year. Congratulations on that retirement.
I'm gonna guess that little one keeps him busy. That's probably why he retired, because he got to run around the little one now.
I know. I love that picture. Can't help but smiling there.
Carolyn Sanders, speaking of smiles, happy 65th birthday to Carolyn in Neodesha.
All right, and we've got Raymond Rutlinger turning 91 years old this year. What a wonderful picture there with your family there in Fredonia with love from your son, Randy.
That's a great family picture right there. Speaking of being busy, and Mr. Rutlinger looked like he'd run around. David Ruddick, he celebrates a birthday as well. Happy birthday to David in Columbus.
Well, the folks have a couple reason to celebrate. First of all, Robert folks celebrating a birthday today. And if Robert's celebrating, that means so is Alexandria, who's now 19 years old. Happy birthday to both of you.
Too cool. How about this? A 69th anniversary for Ralph and Betty Heddy. Congratulations to the Heddys. They're in Parsons. I want you guys to just have a marvelous day, a wonderful Thanksgiving, and congratulations.
I love their smiles. Wonderful smiles there. Keep on smiling. And our very own Daniel Camp.
Who that is?
Celebrating a birthday today. One of our videographers.
Happy birthday, Daniel. David Hillis, he celebrated a birthday over the weekend, as did Cheryl Saya. Cheryl, happy birthday in Joplin. And Colleen Grant, a happy birthday to you in Scammon.
And let's see, we've got Calvin Bradney celebrating a birthday in Columbus. Diane Hill in Columbus as well. And John and Lisa Brassard are celebrating an anniversary in Columbus. The party's in the bus.
Party in the bus. We're not done yet either. James and Eli Haggard, congratulations on your 54th anniversary. That's amazing right there. We got 69th anniversary and a 54th anniversary for the Haggards. And we're going to run back to Columbus. Todd and Ryan Layson celebrating an anniversary as well. Happy birthday, happy anniversary to all. Here's Tanya Bach with a very important birthday announcement.
First of all, Michael, I'm confused. I thought you told me it was Allie's birthday today.
No, Thursday. Thanksgiving is Allie's birthday.
Well, then I wish you happy birthday early, and I'll do it again on Thursday.
I know, that's why we were laughing earlier.
Jeez.
When you were reading the news, that's why Allie and I were laughing.
You were tricking me.
We realized that you thought it was today.
Well, you said a happy birthday to her today, so I got confused.
I was on the 7-day forecast talking about...
Oh, it showed only half paid attention. I get it. That makes sense.
I was on the 7-day forecast talking about Thanksgiving, and that's when I brought up Allie.
Oh, speaking of the 7-day, we'll get to that when we get back. Let's go to break. Here's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door. Another vaccine developer reports promising results in late-stage trials. AstraZeneca announced early this morning that its COVID-19 vaccine is around 90% effective in preventing the disease. An analysis of trials in the UK and Brazil reported no hospitalizations or severe cases in those who received the vaccine. AstraZeneca says it will now apply for emergency approval. Kansas City, Missouri Fire Department says 2 employees have died of COVID-19. Chief Donna Lake identified them as Captain Robert Roca and paramedic Scott Davidson. Roca was 60 years old and had served in the fire department for almost 3 decades. Davidson was a 45-year-old, and had served 18 years. Lake says 73 members of the department are infected with COVID-19 right now. More than 100 others tested positive previously. McDonald County Sheriff's Office investigates a shooting death after finding a body at an apartment complex in Knoll. Authorities say a little after 10 yesterday morning, Knoll's Marshal Office and Sheriff's deputies responded to a call of shots fired at the Knoll Heights apartments. The man's body was discovered with gunshot wounds in an apartment on the 2nd floor. Witnesses identified a suspect who had fled the scene. The suspect is now in custody after an arrest in Benton County, Arkansas. And the Community Health Center of Southeast Kansas says it was victim of an armed robbery Saturday evening. It happened around 6 p.m. Surveillance video shows a man entering the Pittsburgh pharmacy. No one was injured during the incident. Pittsburgh police and the Crawford County K-9 unit responded. Anyone with information about the robbery should call Pittsburgh police. That's a check of today's top headlines, the news you need to know before you head out the door.
Fog advisory lasting all the way until 9. After that, mostly cloudy skies, temps in the low 50s. Overnight, we're able to stay well above freezing, but we got the big development that happens Tuesday morning. That's when the rain begins to roll in and what's going to be a wet Tuesday. And then we can get rid of the fog, get rid of the rain, sit back middle of the week and enjoy what's looking like a good Wednesday and Thanksgiving.
Well, coming up today at noon, we're making melting sweet potatoes in the Mr. Food Test Kitchen.
Switch on over with us on Fox 14. We are kind enough to be graced by the presence of one Zach Dodge. Zach, we all want to thank you not only for joining us early in the morning here, but fighting through the fog and keeping the Fox 14 train rolling. What you got coming up?
Well, that's right, guys. We'll take a look at the state of store shelves as the nation goes through yet another COVID-19 surge.
All right, so flip on over with us on Fox 14, and of course at the same point in time we'll continue to update our comments on the KOAM News Now Facebook page and our Insta poll as well. Zach, you want to hit the Insta poll one more time since we left it at 50-50?
Sure.
Let's pop that up there.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Or not.
Or maybe
it's all right.
We'll see.
I don't know. It's probably hard in triple boxes, Nathan. I'm sorry, man. I didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Oh, it's all
Oh,
good.
Hey,
look at that.
Nathan's incomparable.
Right.
Coming off a big weekend.
48% yes. And
got rid of
52%
Indiana.
No. Okay.
Things are good up in the control room. 52% saying no right now. That's going to change here because we've been jockeying back and forth all day long. Have a great, safe Monday. We'll do this all again tomorrow morning.
And we're going to do it again today at noon.